Smells good.
Yeah, it tastes good.
Is there not more Mick Ultra up there?
No,
Oh,
there's those Mountain Dew drinks, and then there's the go-kart drinks, and then there's some other random beers, but
Really? I mean, of all people to show on the dance floor, it was me and not JD. Okay.
That was me on the dance floor. Welcome to the show, my 401k friends, my favorite 401k friends. We're going back to the standard deal. Straight to the headlines we go. Headlines, Brandon. We don't have time to mess around and banter for the pre-show. Some of us got Little League games to get to. Are you allowed to go to Little League games after you've been drinking? Don't answer.
yeah, I shouldn't.
Okay, this first one comes close to home. I live 2 doors down from the parents of Tony Franchimone, and the news has just hit. Sageview has acquired the founding team of retirement plan. No, I'm trying not to do the acronym. The acronym flows right off my tongue. Retirement Benefits Group, which is a Southern California firm. Plan Advisor magazine is where the article is. It's Tony Franchimone and Larry Deathridge. They were going to bring along with them to Sageview Corey McCarthy. Do you remember him, Justin?
yeah.
He's a cool cat. We sat down with him when he was kind of
He
beginning.
just started like 4 months in. Yeah.
So he's sticking with them on their way to Sageview. Winston Ventura, who apparently is more kind of like their wealth management side guy, and then Rachel Hall, who's part of their team. Tony and Larry have $5.2 billion in assets under administration, also known as their 401k or retirement plan side, and then 63 million in assets under management, also known as their wealth management side. This is the 9th acquisition since July of 2021. When, remember this name, I've been bringing this up, when Aquiline Capital Partners, remember the conspiracy theories of Aquiline? When they took majority stake in the firm, Sageview, so 9 acquisitions since July of 2021, and this is with Aquiline money. Sageview currently has just south of 2,000 plans. They did not discuss the terms of the sale, but it's supposed to close on June 30th. I like what Kush is saying here, because that's where I was going to go next, Kush. If you know Retirement Benefits Group, this might seem confusing because there's a lot more names. Kush is saying 6 partners. Give you, what's the name?
So Michael Kasner.
George Fraser is one of them. And I think George Fraser was quoted in this article at the bottom by saying, Mike Kastner, thank you, Kush, as saying, hey.
Justin definitely said that first.
Oh, sorry. We are still, wait, no, Mark, you're supposed to ignore when Justin says things.
Oh, got it. I forgot. Sorry. I can hear him through the wall next to me. So
bottom line is, within this firm, obviously these people kind of have their own books. And they're free to kind of go with their own books if they want to. And according to George, the remaining retirement plan group people are still One Digital affiliates. They'll still continue there and continue doing business as normal. But they had not, Tony and Larry had not yet sold to One Digital. And I'm not even sure the rest of the people have sold to One Digital yet. I think they're still just an affiliate. Someone check my facts on that. But now Tony and Larry have cashed in, and they are with Sageview. So it's pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah. I didn't hear, JD, did you say how long Sageview has started this acquisition phase? Like how long ago was that they got the dough and the backing.
No, they're
start
just
doing it,
saying
'cause
that since Aquiline took majority stake, and that was July of 2021, so 2
21.
years.
That's what I was trying to remember back, because they've made some big waves in the last, I feel like 12, 18 months that I didn't see them in that market before. You know, you had your hubs, you had your one digitals. I didn't see SageV there, and now they're pretty constant.
No, I
No.
definitely think you're right, Chad. I think you can start to add their name to that small list of what, for lack of a better term, we would call kind of aggregators or whatnot, national aggregators. And again, this is because they got the pockets of Aquiline
Yeah.
and all the mysterious people that exist there.
You should give them a ring, JD. See if they want like this massively blowing up, awesome third-party administrator shop.
No, we're
Get
not
some,
selling.
get some backing. No, they don't get to acquire. They just get a minority shareholder for like 30 billion. And then we'll just go out and spend it all.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to do
Two
the
more
math.
Make some more movies.
I was gonna try to do the math on what the price might be based on the number, but I didn't get time to do it. So
Just guess. Just guess.
I just wanted to do an actual guess, but I don't know. What do you think they're making? That's fun. Mark, let's have some fun with it. What do you think they make on 5.2 billion in retirement plans? What kind of revenue are those two making on that? Take a guess, I
How
don't
many
know.
plans?
5 mil, 10 mil, 5 mil, 5 mil.
I would have
Closer to
said
that.
more than that.
More than
Really?
that? 10 mil?
I would think so.
Yeah, Sampo's here. I don't know.
What's
It's
Samsonite?
tough to guess. I definitely think they've sold for several $1,000,000. What's their EBITDA? They pull from that. I don't know. I hate to guess. Oh, I hate to guess on those two guys' kind of annual income, which is kind of like what their that acronym I just used would be. But
What you got there?
I don't know.
Yeah, what is that, JD?
It's the Kraken tax law.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah,
by
let's-
that math alone, what are you thinking? 40 mil?
Oh,
Just
God.
if we went with 5 rev? Or no?
Who's saying 40? What? Who just came up with
Well,
40 million?
I'm thinking 7, 8 times. And what's the going rate right now?
More than that. Yeah, 10
Oh, it's
times.
Samson's saying
13.
13.
But I
Jeez.
don't think I think they're more like, yeah, 20 mil, maybe.
I would think at least
Oh, I
That's a
guess it
good
would be
guess.
there.
on that big of a book.
I'll lock in on 20 mil. Maybe it's more.
Okay.
Speaking of horrible drinks like the Kraken attacks Las Vegas, I would like everyone right now in attendance to please take a moment, cross your fingers, and pray for James Douglas Carlson on the Wheel of Ice. Because if I lose again, I'm going to be fucking pissed. It's been like 7 times in a row. Brandon, spin the Wheel of Ice.
The wheel of ice, the wheel of ice.
It can't be me.
Gotta be you.
Can't be me.
Gotta be
It has
you.
to just keep going the rest of the year.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's everyone, my lord.
Everyone, Malort.
It's like Chad knew about this.
I did just hand you that.
Wait, hold on.
That's Malort.
How do we
It is
we-
JD
Oh,
again.
is it only Malort?
Yeah, what is this?
Malort.
Oh, I thought it was Malort Nice.
I thought it was like one of the, what do we used to combine?
Hey,
Maker's
Call the
Mark?
girls. Tell them to bring some wine down. Or
Can
some
you all
wines down.
cheers me? Can you cheers me?
Cheers.
Dink, dink,
Thank-
to the side, to the side. Dink,
Oh.
dink, dink. Okay. Oh, God.
Oh,
Ah,
It's been a while.
oh, Brandon got in it too. Welcome, B.
It's been a while. Okay. Wow. I used to
Terrible.
say I like that stuff, but it's been a while since I had it.
God.
Yeah.
Mark, if you want to wash it down with the Vizzy that expired in April, go ahead.
Yeah,
Nevin
he said
and-
alcohol doesn't go bad.
Our boys Nevin and Fred have a new podcast. They focus on managed accounts. Love those groovy too. Let me see. There's some interesting things they talk about here, and I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on it. Managed accounts in 2021 grew by nearly 24%, but apparently not all advisors are fans. Nevin referenced a Summit Insider, which is I think a conference they do, survey that they put out to financial advisors. And last year and this year, more than half of the advisors surveyed called managed account services a negative game changer. And in years prior to that, they actually answered that question in the opposite. They always answered it saying, yeah, managed account is going to be this great thing for our industry. But in the past 2 years, the majority of them are saying, no, this is actually a negative for our industry. When Nevin asked Fred why he thought this was the case, he thought that maybe the fuel to the negative opinion was that there was a desire of advisors to make more money. And I think when he says advisors, he's probably thinking of the bigger aggregator shops, right? To make more money on these types of offering. He went on to say that if all you know is age and account balance when you're creating this managed account service, which I think a lot of them are built off that kind of basic data, then he thinks that it's hard to justify a higher fee. And then one more thing before I get your guys' thoughts. Nevin used this term that I never heard before, but I kind of liked, and it wasn't his words, he was quoting someone else. He referred to managed account services as an expensive target date fund in the negative. It's like, oh, interesting. So Chad, we've talked about this before, but it sounds like the industry as a whole isn't all gung-ho about managed account services. Does this shock you?
No, and yes, in some ways. I'm going to say no. What shocks me is the timing of the transition. Why now versus a 2 years ago, 3 or 5 years ago? The statement of it's an expensive target date fund is something that I've been arguing with you and others for a long time. And I've always used the term, if you have a tactical money manager that has leeway in their exposure and how much cash they have, then they're actively managing that portfolio, then I think that it could be reasonable to say it's worth the cost. The problem is many of the managed accounts that have come out lately are just what you described there, an expensive target date fund. It's not actively changing the holdings based upon market volatility or where they see things. It's diversifying, and often it's diversifying based upon the core menu investments. And then they're setting up a few little sweets like trigger points to what might change the holdings, but it's not tactical in any way.
You've said that historically, and I think it's kind of interesting because I think as someone who lived through a lot of those managed accounts 15 years ago, sometimes the tactically doesn't work out so well. And I think a lot of times, so I don't necessarily know if I agree with you that just because someone's actively trying to change the diversification or the different investment holdings makes it all that much better.
What are you paying for? Tell me that. What are you, if it is more expensive, and let's just make the statement it is,
right,
what are you paying for?
I think what
I versus some other.
I think what Nevin and Fred, and Nevin's even here now, what they were saying is what maybe you would pay for is more data and more information and more customization, not, oh, I've got a magic ball and I'm going to figure out what asset class is going to work better over the next, 1 year period. So that's what I think.
And I'm not disagreeing with that statement at all, but are you seeing that being done with most managed account services right now? Because I'm not. Well, they're not gathering extra data. They're not getting deep in creating these portfolios.
I think another reason why maybe the tides turned is, and tell me if this sounds weird, I think 10 years ago when you talked about managed account service, at least for me, I thought a lot about independent companies like Stadion and Clark Lanson and Scala and these different names that were out there. And now it's starting to be like, oh, it's the managed account at the national aggregator, it's the and so maybe that's what's putting a poor taste in some people. When I say some people, the advisor's mouth is like, wait a second, this is becoming a proprietary thing versus just kind of an add-on thing.
That would be my immediate thought as to why it's gained some popularity here most recent. When I saw them in first starting the career, they were, as you described, an outside company that created a suite of holdings based upon what they thought was relevant. Now what it has become is a good way for the record keepers to get their fixed accounts in there. And so when you look at many of the groups that we work with, they're offering pricing concessions if you offer their managed account services, because they know they're getting their stable value in, they're getting a large spread on that. And then they'll load it up. Like many of them are loading them up with Vanguard or DFA on the back end. They're driving costs down, they're index based. They're somewhat tactical, but the goal is to get their managed account in there.
Well, I'd be
Or to get
curious,
their
Nevin,
fix.
Nevin's here in the chat bar. Nevin, by the end of your podcast, or you were in Mr. Reish's assessment of managed accounts, did you join the 50% of advisors that thought that it was not a good thing? Or were you guys pro managed accounts? Or are you allowed to say, let us know, Nevin, where did you fall in that camp? Next, headlines and news. This one's a little old, and I apologize if I was drunk, and we've talked about this in a past show. Sometimes the shows blend together, okay? It depends, Nevin. Really, that's your answer. Did we talk about Fanatic, the platform shutting down? I don't think we did.
I
So
know
we did
we
not.
did, but I don't
Yeah,
know if we did
not
on the show.
show. So Fanatic,
I haven't been here in a while, so I'm not really sure.
Fanatic, past guest on this show, has shut down their platform. And this is the email that went out. I think it was actually about 2 weeks ago that this went out. Can I just kind of take a moment to say, if you go back to the episode, the man we had on was Ray Conley. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Ray Conley. And if you remember, I was drunk and I was hard pressed, and I was a little bit confused about how he was going to turn a profit, how this is going to work out with everything that went in. And so I don't want to say I told you so, but
But you did tell him.
I told you so.
I mean,
like, I didn't do
can
that,
we just at least be like, feel sorry for the employees and the
I
people
should.
that, you know,
I
yeah.
should. Mark, we don't feel sorry for people here. He'll pick. By the way, I thought they actually had built a great thing.
Yeah.
It was actually
Just really
phenomenal.
hard to make it profitable.
Yeah, they couldn't turn a profit on it. They were apparently waiting on some big money from an investor to kind of bail them out, and that kind of fell through in the ninth inning. And
That investor was JD, and then he sent him Monopoly dollars.
What's my takeaway here? Every time we talk about this on this show, just because people are companies, just because they've got some investment money, just because they have a good idea, doesn't mean that they're going to survive and thrive and stay in business. So we will continue to update you on companies that go kaput.
Perhaps that's a new segment for you, JD. We had, we did a few 15-minute or 10-minute or 5-minute, like look into a new tech that's out there. Maybe it should be you afterwards deciding whether or not they're going to make it.
I don't know about that.
Ooh.
Hey, the one that I love,
Controversy, Mark.
the one that I love that followed up on your old 401ks, which by the way, I still committed to Brandon. I'd go get my old tennis coach investments I have.
Mhm.
I don't know how on earth those fuckers are making money for sure. I'm infringing on drunk stock tips. Well, guess what? Sampo, why don't we go straight there? We're winging it tonight.
Ooh.
Let's go to drunk stock tips, shall we? Well. It's been a little while. And to be honest with you, I keep Mark's stocks on my phone. I don't check in with him every day, but from time to time. And when I'm watching that famous TV channel that I don't know what the 3 letters stand for, that does financial stuff, cable news broadcast, I don't know what they're called. I see one of Mark's stocks is flying off the charts year to date or this and that. I always think of Rogue Guy, but today I had a moment to kind of look back, and I'm not gonna fucking go through each and every one,
Thanks, Samson.
but I'm gonna make one statement to you guys. Netflix, Apple, Twitter, Home Depot, Peloton, Laird, Tesla, Bird, Disney, Bed Bath & Beyond, Budweiser. Every single one of those stocks has done what Rogue Guy said it would do. Beyond Budweiser, okay, Budweiser is the only one, Anheuser-Busch, that has not shot off from when Mark told you to buy it. However, if you remember, he was saying, look, this will blow over eventually, this whole Bud Light thing, and eventually this company will get back to its mean. So I'm going to leave that one out of the mix for now. Not that it's down in any crazy way. I think it's actually pretty flat from when you said buy it. But every single other stock, if you said it was going to be up, it's up. If you said it was going to be down, it's down. And by the way, some to the tune of some massive amounts. I mean, Netflix is through the fucking roof. It was $199 when you said buy it. It's $445 right now. Apple was $142. It's $186. Twitter, we all know what happened there. Elon bought that shit and everyone cashed in. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. I said I wasn't going to go through them all, so I won't. But you know what you were losing on before, Mark? I would tell everyone, okay, but Apple, Tesla, and Disney, they'll come around. And Tesla for sure, for a long time, we're like, okay, yeah, Mark said buy Tesla. It's not working out. Well, guess what? It's working out now. It's up from when you told them to buy it. So anyways, fucking killing it, okay? Today's stock. I don't know if Brandon, he probably doesn't have to show up, but it is one of maybe the most hot performing stock year to date in all of the stock market. Does anyone in the chat bar have a guess? It's tied to artificial intelligence, at least its big run. Thank you, Hackler. There you go. Okay, Roby, Hackler knows it's Nvidia. What do you say? Now, this thing has been on an absolute fucking gangbusters tear, but I know that doesn't matter to you. To you, it just matters like what scents you smell right now or what colors you're seeing in your brain, I guess.
Yeah. Like I said, I've seen the company name before. I live in the Silicon Valley, so I've driven by offices. I think I might even know people who have spouses who work there. And they're good people. My assumption is that they drive a Tesla as well.
Do you need to disclose any insider trading right now or anything like that?
No, I don't really talk to people. Yeah, I just kind of stay out of the limelight. So okay. So that being said, I've got nothing creative in terms of like why I think you should buy or sell. If I'm being honest, I'm just going to go.
Do you think artificial intelligence is going to take off like everyone's talking about?
With my gut, well, yeah, I think that's an easy thing to say, that it's going to absolutely rule the world one day, and that's great. And to be honest, didn't even know they were involved in that. So that's probably why it's going up so much. So what do I think is going to end up happening with this stock over the next 5 years or so?
You're kind of like watching a guru surfboard shaper shape the board. You just stand back and you don't know how they're doing what they're doing or why, but you just watch.
Yeah. See, again, because I'm not that smart, I just wonder like how high can you go? Are they peaking? Right?
That's
is this
awfully
like
fucking high?
LeBron James should have retired 6 years ago? Like, are we at that point? But you know what? No, we're going for it. We're going big. We're going home. You buy it. You just buy it, and you don't look back. And here's why I'll say you buy it, because their company name is spelt like it should be pronounced, and that's good enough for me.
Okay. Wow, Nvidia's a buy. You heard it here, people.
Isn't it up like 490% this year?
It's up massive, yes. But you know what? Mark's not alone. There are some very smart people that think like, yeah, but it's still gonna go in a big way.
It's like those people who say Bitcoin will be $100,000 a coin in 3 years, right? So I'd say that this is just
Great analogy.
we're at the bottom of the hill. We're still got to climb.
Oh shit.
Okay,
Let's
wow.
go.
It's been a big run, but Mark says still get in on it. There's plenty of upside. So there you go. I think it was Hackler on there was saying he had it a long time ago, or was it Samson? Like Mark's saying it's still early, man. Get in. I guess those weren't his exact words, but it's
Jeez.
going up. Buying tomorrow, Hackler. I just bought it right now, man. You got to get it now, man, while it's hot. Okay. Brandon, here's what I want to do, guys. But to kind of continue out to the end of the show, I got a bunch of topics, like quick little topics. Like, let's think of them like kind of flash fire, quick combo points, you know, like things we can talk about quickly, and I just throw them at you. If they're great, we have a good conversation, awesome, we stick with it. If not, we'll move on to the next one, no problem, okay? Brandon, did you get the Fidelity video that I sent you for the Solo FidFolios? If you didn't, it's okay.
Welcome to Fidelity Solo.
Let's watch this. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Welcome to Fidelity Solo FidFolios customized investing. Imagine being able to invest in what matters to you, your values, a specific theme, or perhaps the latest trends. Imagine all those stocks, your custom index, in a single basket, trading and investing with just one click, and monitoring all through a personalized dashboard. Now, how's that for easy? Ready to get started? Decide on a theme. Choose a Fidelity thematic model, researched and built by the professionals, and customized to make it your own. Or pick stocks to build from scratch. Then decide how much of each stock you want in your basket. Choose how much you'd like to invest. Name your basket and place your order. But wait, let's say after a week or months, you check the performance of your basket and decide you'd like to make changes. Go to your dashboard, select Manage, and make your move. Perhaps you're making changes as the market's shifted. Just rebalance and we'll calculate the orders for you. And with one click, place your trade. When you go solo, it's easy to invest in what matters to you. Fidelity Solo FidFolios, the next generation of customized investing.
Ed DiMarino makes a point that would be interesting talking about. He goes, I like it. Won't be allowed in 401k, I suppose. I don't know about that. We can, and we'll have another topic that might kind of scratch that concept there a little bit. But what I want to ask you guys about is like innovation in 401k and investing. Sometimes we kind of close minds. We think like, okay, you got these mutual funds, you got these target date funds, managed accounts. I mean, there's room for new kind of shit. The other thing you might want to comment on is, do we really want regular folk kind of making their own mutual fund, which is kind of how I see this? Like, do they really have the skills? Are the desires there? So I don't know, Mark, do you think the average person is interested in kind of making their own shit here from the ground up?
That's pretty simple, man. If I can do it, they can do it. So yeah.
Good point.
I mean, let's be honest, it's a little bit of skill, but a little bit of luck, but yeah.
A little bit of skill, a little bit of luck. Chad, when you watched that video, did that excite you at all?
It did. It did. It did because it's something new at the fingertips of an investor. I mean, I believe what you said, JD, is the way I would describe it, right? They're building out their own mutual fund. My question would be, and I'm looking on the Fidelity website.
Change the freaking music is all they should do, is change the music.
It's $4.99 a month, right? Because if you're picking 10 stocks inside your basket, then and you're doing small slivers, that's a lot of transactions. It's a lot of trades they're creating for each of those holdings. And I was trying to figure out what the aim is for creating profitability on it. $4.99 a month is not a lot if people are making multiple transactions.
They are solving a problem, right, Chad? Like if you're interested in, because usually if you're a investor and you focus with mutual funds, which is kind of the 401k world, if you were to say to me, no, I saw someone in the chat bar talk about the self-directed brokerage account, which I actually want to talk about tonight. But I might say to you, hey, to invest in a self-directed brokerage account, that's going to be difficult because you're going to have to research a lot of equities from a lot of different sectors. And you're going to have to kind of monitor them and know when to remove and replace and buy and sell and stay diversified. And when you really add it all up and you try to spread it across a diversified portfolio, that's a lot of man hours and a lot of work and a lot of time. And I think that's what Fidelity is trying to solve right here. Is
Right.
like, no, you can still buy certain things and have some control over what's in your portfolio without having to spend 100 hours a week doing it.
Part of me feels like this might be a targeted technology for advisors more than it is the individual investor.
That's
Like if you're an
interesting.
advisor and you're looking to create these, diversified portfolios with a suite of different stocks, this could be a great way to do it.
I could see that tech pivoting to that. So
Yeah.
if
Wait,
that's
so not
right,
using it
And
as
what-
like let me do that to my account right now, Chad. You're saying doing it as like almost like a preparation before you go and meet with somebody?
No, like an
No.
offering. So like if my advisor
Yeah,
came
like
to me
they'll-
and was like, look, we're building this portfolio, or you want a customized portfolio, you believe in these 3 stocks, well, I believe in these 6 stocks, and so let's buy these 9 stocks as part of the small basket.
Can I be the dumb one in the room and say that I
Good.
can't believe that this didn't already exist?
well, we're kind of behind when it comes to tech, believe
Yeah.
it or not, financial services space. But yeah, to me, Mark, I kind of like what you just said. This shows me that there is new things that can happen.
Thanks, Kush.
I-
Yes.
Someone said it'll fail. I think it was Ed said it won't work inside or won't make a big impact inside the retirement plan space. It starts with the word solo. My initial thought before I knew what it was this is going to be a solo K style tool. In that world where you have smaller total assets to be able to diversify in a good basket of stocks, that'd be great. A lot of those solo Ks are putting in 15, 18, 20,000 a year, and they don't want to go out and buy 9 shares of Nvidia. So now they can do smaller slivers of 7 or 8 different stocks within their portfolio. I think
Yeah.
that
How
could
often
be
do we get
could be
those
well.
those owners asking like, hey, can I go invest in stocks and whatnot?
all the time, especially in the
there,
solo
yeah.
K space.
Mhm.
Also, there is some new, like, smaller 401k record keeper disruptors. I'm not sure if we talked about it on this show, but that are allowing participants to kind of like filter out sectors and things that they don't want. And I think this is more I'll drink for it, like an ESG vibe for them. But you are starting to see this kind of, let's put the steering wheel in the investor's hands and allow them to kind of filter things out and customize things. And so I don't know, part of me, and I will drink, hang on, but part of me thinks like, I love the evolution. And then the pessimist in me is like, look, these people just want to be told what to invest in. They don't want to put their hands on the steering wheel,
That's the difference between the 401k space and the individual investor, which originally that's who this is targeting, right? Fidelity,
right now.
Fidelity is saying this is who we want.
For sure. All right, let's take this kind of stretch to this next one, which I think is a small step. And I think Mark maybe missed this one when he was commenting on it. Like, Mark, I'm sure you're aware of what I would call advisor created models. That's probably not the appropriate term, but I'm going to use a record keeper that, yes, might have target date funds or risk-based funds, but I, as the advisor, would like to create my own, say, aggressive, moderate, or conservative portfolios. I will choose the underlying mutual funds, maybe from the core menu, or at least from the record keeper's available investment options. And I will decide what those are and how they work and what the breakdown should be. Do you guys see a lot? I think this trend started, I shouldn't even call it a trend. I think this started becoming available maybe like a decade ago. I think it's available on most record keeping platforms. I'm imagining very few advisors, especially in the micro market, take advantage of this, but are you seeing this at all? Any of you guys?
No, especially in our market. I mean, it's so, even what we're talking about right now, I don't see it having a big take rate on it by any means. Advisors just aren't wanting to do that, go to that level, because they're not making any money on the plans.
It's kind of a dud. It hasn't come to fruition in any
The
big way.
principal pushed it hard for a number of years. I think it was Retireview on their platform, and there were certain broker dealers that were heavy leveraging it. But I really have not seen many doing that in the last 4 or 5 years, JD. There are a couple of shops that are, but not widespread.
The reason it came to the front of mind for me is I'm working on a request for proposal right now where Justin's helping me, and this is something that is a necessary box to check, like that, because it's used right now with the incumbent and the advisor's going to stay on. They want to use it where they're going. So now I'm going to be the asshole, even to this advisor on this plan, this partner of mine. Like, really, do we really need Joe Smith or Sally Watson advisor in any town USA is going to do a better job? And any advisors in the chat are come at me right now, like, tell me I'm an idiot. You're going to do a better job than Hero Price or American Century or Capital Group or Fidelity in your analysis and figuring out what underlying funds should be in an aggressive portfolio. Like, that's where I've always got stuck on this, is like, why the fuck do we want the advisor doing this instead of a large financial institution?
I'll happily fight you back on this, and I'll comment too, knowing, remember, my wife was a participant in one of their plans, so I know exactly what they do and how they do it. They have an in-house investment analyst, and then they're using a series of T. Rowe analysts and Oppenheimer analysts and Fidelity, and they're doing all the market research from those people that are creating the funds you're talking about. And then they're creating their own portfolios, but they're sending out quarterly letters to each participant stating, this is where we believe the market is. This is why we've chosen to make these changes. This is the information we got from the Fidelity analysts on this emerging market. And that's why we've decided to change this out. Like, it is incredibly thorough. And as an investor, it was very comforting to see the changes that they're choosing to make. Whereas in these other managed accounts or target date funds, you don't get that. Shit just happens. You have no idea what's even happening. So I think what they're doing is great.
It's funny, Daniela says it's basically what a wealth management advisors do. And funny enough, I mean, that we're using an isolated situation here, what Chad's talking about, but yeah, that's what these advisors are. They're not 401k advisors. They just happen to have this 401k plan. They're wealth advisors. But isn't it also true that a lot of wealth management advisors outsource this stuff? And by the way, if I took my 15 million to a local wealth manager and he said to me, oh, by the way, I'm going to manage this, but I'm going to outsource this to this much larger national or global company. Daniela says the whole point of the TAMP, that's where I'm going. Oh shit. You set me up for that, Daniela. I would feel more comfortable with my 15 million with that. And I would feel more comfortable with that advisor saying, yeah, of course not. I'm not going to do it. I live here in Anytown, USA with you. Like, I'm just like, I'm going to outsource this to a much larger firm that specializes in this, and they're going to do it. I say no harm, no foul doing that. Like, so
I just feel like in your mind, you're still thinking it's every advisor in no town USA versus them leveraging the resources they have and getting this similar insight from analysts and then making their own choice.
I think what I heard from you, Chad, is, hey, JD, be more an advocate of the little guy or girl. Like, instead of them being proprietary, they might be able to pull from a variety of intelligent sources and therefore have something unique that's well done. And by the way, I'm always looking out for someone who's smarter. And I agree with you. You would think as disruptive as we are and as irreverent as we are, like, I wouldn't just bow down to the Fidelities and the Vanguards and think that they've all figured out the perfect magic potion and do stuff. I look like your buddy in Kansas, that John Ruth, who's working hard on the fixed income stuff. Like, there's gonna be, like, you know, disruptors that do things differently and better and whatever. You're shaking your head no, Mark. What's up?
Nope. No, sorry. This is not even about what you're talking about, but Justin tried to act like he was going to do Chad's penalty drinks and Justin drinking a Smirnoff Ice. And I said, nope, doesn't count.
Yeah,
Is
I
Chad
didn't
coaching
expect to take
tonight?
all
Is
the
Chad
Malort.
coaching tonight? Is that what's going
Yeah,
on?
I got a pitch to a bunch of 10-year-olds or
You're pitching.
12-year-olds tonight.
That doesn't count.
Bring
Oh,
in the lefty.
Ugh.
Hey
He's
JD,
right.
I know this is on topic but slightly off. We had an advisor back in the day, and I kind of liked his strategy. Any client that was a smaller 401k plan, he was clearing through Schwab at the time, and he was the master account. And then he would essentially manage every portfolio for each participant. He'd sit with them one-on-one, but then he would do all the trades himself on essentially a managed account. This is 15 years ago, but he would do all the trades himself through the Schwab master account that he had control of. And his clients loved it. They were almost all of them were private wealth clients on the business owner front. And he was taking what he's doing for them and doing it on each individual participant in the plan. And he won a lot of
All right.
small market business doing that.
Great debate. Great debate. That's fine. Okay. So there's potentially some life in that. And you pointed out some of the pros. I've always been kind of a pessimist in that area. And we got a mixed bag in the chat bar. Like, there's a lot of people that agreed with my first pessimistic thoughts. Are like, of course not. I don't want to do that. It's not part of my job. But you make some solid points. Here's something I don't want to say we've never talked about it because it's been a long time, but I don't think we've talked about this much at all in this show. And it's really relevant in 401k. Because even with us, like, we probably have, I don't know, 100 clients that use what I would call like trust accounting or an actual self-directed brokerage account. Like, instead of using what I'd call a modern day package record keeper, they're at like Charles Schwab or something Ameritrade or, whatever E-Trade. Fuck, no. Yeah.
I don't know.
maybe.
Let that one slide. Let that slide.
Okay.
Schwab just bought that other one.
And basically, although they could choose mutual funds in there, and maybe most do, they could also trade equities and things. But what I'm talking about is a self-directed brokerage account. Is it okay in a 401k plan? In the past, I would tell you, and I learned this from my daddy when he taught me the business. My daddy taught me that it's
Is that a Father's Day joke?
It's not great for all participants because it's really more for the sophisticated, right? Like you should really know what you're doing. You can get in a lot of trouble in a brokerage account buying the wrong share class, or God forbid, trying to invest in equities and follow kind of rogue guy's strategy, although that would work out well for you. So from a fiduciary perspective, from a modern day perspective, self-directed brokerage account, they come to you tomorrow, Justin, an advisor. He wants to set it up and he says, is this okay in today's day and age? Like, can I do this?
I don't see a problem with it. I mean, the plan doesn't really take on the responsibility at that point when the participant chooses to go outside of it. In our world, at least, it's typically owner-only plans for the most part that are wanting to invest like that. I don't get the issue with it. Whether they go through the plan or through, Charles Schwab, what's the problem?
We got one guy saying yes, who's a very smart guy and a pooled employer plan supporter. Fuck him. Love you, Rob. And then another guy saying, yeah, it's okay as a sidecar, but not a brokerage account only. It doesn't work. And I love that he brought up 404A5. That is an issue with a lot of these brokerage accounts. There's definitely a equal rights and benefits thing that happens a lot where they say, oh yeah, we're going to give brokerage accounts to the chief executive officer, the founder, and the chief financial officer, but everyone else gets something else. I definitely don't like that. That's sketchy. Doesn't seem legal to me.
But
For JD, for everybody tuning in, let's make sure. Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
No, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
Let's just make sure they know the three options. One being the plan only has a self-directed brokerage account option. That's where all the money is going to go and how it's going to be used.
And still very common to this day.
Yep. And then the second would be you're utilizing a record keeper for the core menu, and then you're allowing an outside brokerage account for people that want to access it. let's
Either,
say you use
either,
unrelated to the record keeper,
oh,
you're using a Schwab or an Ameritrade, something along
completely
those lines.
outside.
Yep, completely outside. And then the third is you have a number of these record keepers that have a brokerage account
Something built
attached
in.
to it, where the deferrals go to one location and then you move money into the self-directed brokerage account and you buy and trade and sell there.
Could seamlessly
That
go
side of
back
it,
and forth.
it is seamless. As an advisor, you get a singular feed. You can see the money that's in the brokerage. You can see the money that's in the core menu. As a third-party administrator, we can get a download of all the data. In some of them, your advisor compensation is even deducted from the assets that hit the brokerage account. That side of it, I'm pretty comfortable with.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this name, but Tim Thurston, thanks again for commenting. And by the way, comment to everybody, although they can see it up on
Yeah.
the screen. But so Tim says, okay, look, the question is, and I think he's right, is how do you evaluate, from a fiduciary perspective? So you're an advisor, you have a fiduciary review meeting with your client, you look at the large cap, the mid cap, the small cap, all the investments that you're offering to the participants. Now you make a brokerage account available. Let's say you're a 50-person company and you've got 7 people that are using the brokerage accounts. Don't you have a responsibility to look in and see, like, the same way you're looking in on the other 43 employees? You shake your head, no, Chad. Where the fuck did you get this freebie where you don't have responsibility anymore? Because I don't think that's a legal truth.
I think if you look under the Employee Retirement Income Security Act and you look at what the obligations are for the investments that are being offered, go back to Fred Reish's support of Nationwide when he wrote their disclosure for going into the brokerage account window. Essentially, you're saying, look, as a committee, as a fiduciary, we're not responsible for the investments you're selecting out here. We are not endorsing these. We are not scrubbing these. You are offering them, yes, but you are not going, and that goes back to Guy's point of using a designated investment alternative.
What is that? 401c? Is that what that guy's referring to? 401c? Am I getting that right?
Something like that.
I don't
yeah.
know. Ask Guy.
Help me out, Guy.
That was an
not
issue.
404A5.
I think it's 405.
Disclosure.
That's fee disclosure. Yeah, 404c. Thanks.
404C. The
Jim.
404C compliant is different. That's the number of alternatives you need to
Oh, no,
offer
but
with
that's
proper
what-
guidance and information.
But that's what Guy said. He said no duty to view if there are 3 designated investment alternatives. And Guy, tell me I'm wrong, but 404A5 is not 404C. Yeah. So-
My point being, I don't think as a plan sponsor, you carry that obligation for those that choose to go out there.
Okay.
You always carry an obligation for what you're making available to the participants, but the individual scrubbing of the funds, I don't believe that exists in the brokerage account world.
I think that it could get very gray area, that if your job as a fiduciary is to act in the best interest of your plan participant.
No doubt. We're saying 2 different things though. That is very different.
No. But what I'm saying is that if Schlichter or one of his peers gets a hold of this and gets somewhere and sees that participants are harming themselves and you made a decision to do it this way as opposed to another way, I think there's something there. I also feel like, personally, I don't see why we need this. Like, I think the self-directed brokerage account is an archaic 1980s kind of thing when we were all infatuated with having more choice, more investment options, more flexibility. And I think we've led more towards a world now of like less is more, defaults, auto enrolls, boomer. I love it. So I'll shut up. But all right, it's still a thing. It's out there for sure. Oh, great, Rob. Good point. There are some of these brokerage accounts that can kind of limit them because we didn't even get into that. We'll save that for another show, another day. What about, penny stocks and fucking, I forget the other fancy financial terms, options and shit like that, like people, you can do that too and get in trouble. So, all right.
And I think the moment you start restricting, like let's say as a plan sponsor, you go in and say, we're going to offer a brokerage account, but we're going to eliminate these access to these things. Then I think you've carried oversight over what they can see in that brokerage window. And now you do hold liability.
Hackler, I've been going to bed at like 8:39 p.m. since I got home, but
Oh, you're lucky.
I'm not going to go to bed at 6. Okay. How about the difference between a standard, what do you call it? A registered rep? That's what the industry calls them. Someone who works for a broker dealer, and a wirehouse advisor, also known as Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley. I mean, I guess you could throw into that like Edward Jones and that kind of stuff too.
I wouldn't throw Jones in.
No? Whoa, okay. Tell me your thoughts. Mark, if I send you to a meeting to go meet with a a registered rep advisor that works for some broker dealer, Kestra or whatever, and you got to go meet with them, or you got a meeting tomorrow with some fancy name at Merrill Lynch. Are you coming in with a different perspective?
No, nothing changes on my end.
What
My job remains the same.
your job remains the same, but do you change your job based
What
on
about
the
your
person you're
headspace?
talking to?
My headspace, no.
All right,
Yeah.
Justin, we'll kick it to you. Do you wear a
No, I'm good.
fancier? Do you wear a fancier?
I'm going to plead the
suit?
fifth.
Do you wear your
No,
fancier
no,
suit
Mark,
on the
try
way to
it.
the wirehouse?
There's just no. All I'm saying, I'm being a dick right now. Let's be honest. Sometimes you have a preconceived notion about certain broker dealers and whatnot. No, not just now. Hack. I'm always one.
I think what Justin's trying to say politically correct
Broker
is
shower.
there are some broker dealers, some wirehouses that really control the flexibility of the advisor, what they can do. Their advisors tend to be less sophisticated, difficult to work with. Yeah, that exists, JD. And I think that's probably a bad notion to have for some of those broker dealers, but it's true. I prefer
Much
going
more
the
eloquently
independent
put, bud.
route. I prefer going the independent route if you're asking me, and I do treat those meetings differently because I know everything we talk about in the broker dealer channel, those bigger shops, those wirehouses, is going to go through their internal person and then circle back to me.
Tampo's
Whereas
got
the
it.
independents are far better partners usually.
Tampo's got it. He's like, I'll add the all to the beginning. All advisors are assholes, but especially the ones in the wirehouses. Well, let me ask you this: like, do you think when they go to a client, a plan, let's say plan sponsor, not an individual wealth management account, but when they walk into a $7 million plan, is there more value in having a Merrill Lynch logo attached to their name or a Morgan Stanley versus some other like random broker dealer that they've probably
Absolutely.
never heard of?
Absolutely, there is. If there's no existing relationship, then the backing of that large brand recognition is huge. The truth, as you all know, though, most of the time there's an existing relationship in this space. Someone knows someone, and there's already trust built regardless of the name on your business card.
I would have thought you would have said the opposite. I would have said the opposite, that I don't know if human resources, chief financial officers, these people, and remember, this is not an individual client with $10 million to invest that's somehow impressed by your Merrill Lynch branch. This is a company. And I think that, I don't know if they see value in those brands the same way, but you could be right, Chad. I could be totally wrong.
I kind of get the feeling that. Good.
Go, Jess.
No, I kind of get the feeling I'm in your camp on that, JD. They, if you have that Merrill name or what, and not talking crap on Merrill or anything like that, we're just using an example, but they might not feel as, they might feel like a dime a dozen rather than, someone personal, with someone who's
Hackler,
got their
I'm
own.
wrong. I'm always wrong. Justin, you're saying that, like, couldn't it be a negative too, you guys? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
They might not feel enough attention and love, where from a private wealth guy or whatnot, they feel more taken care of. And I don't know.
Doesn't that seem more Wall Streety?
No, I
No?
I mean,
You're
because
telling
we
me
know
that's the one thing
JD
I said. I think that's a fact. You don't think
we
being a
know
mineral
the inner
Morgan
workings.
Stanley is more Wall Streety?
We know the inner workings. And so when you hear the name of a wirehouse, you have a notion, you have a thought comes to mind. When I think the average human resources person hears it, they think of the commercials they see, the brands they see. They must be a big, stable company. I saw research done recently that most people want to buy from a company they know will be there in 50 years. And so I think all of that holds true when that person steps in the room and they have no idea what independent registered investment advisor shop name that's on there, or this Johansson, Carlson, Palmini, and McNeil wealth advisors sitting on the card powered by Morgan Stanley. Like,
good point, Brian. Good point, Brian. Like Lehman Brothers. No. You're right. You're right. What you basically just said is there is power in recognizable brands.
guys, how many times you step into a meeting and when you're presenting, and I'll use the big names, the Voya, the Hancock, the Empower, does somebody then go, who's plan design? Like I get
all
that
the
often.
time.
All the
Yeah.
time. They don't know plan design, but they know those big names and they like the comfort of knowing those big
For
names.
sure. Can you imagine our job if we had to run around the country and sell plan design consultants, the 401k plan, where we were the custodian and the record keeper and whatever? Like that would be a very hard task. I think you for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am buying the market right here, right now.
I think you for sure need what Chad said. You need that brand recognition. All right, we got a
But
little.
the face of the plan is still the record keeper and whatnot. It's not the advisor.
Say that again.
The face of the plan to the participants, to the plan sponsor, is still the record keeper. It's that big name, right?
Yeah.
It's not the
There was-
advisor.
It's before
Right,
these
so-
guys' times, JD. But remember, to Justin's point right there, when I started in this space, I used to have to step into meetings and remind clients that John Hancock wasn't holding on to their money, that it was actually in the market, that
If
ING
Hancock
wasn't
went
holding
under,
on to their
yeah.
money. Yeah, because we were seeing, no, that's not. We were seeing
No, it's not.
businesses be acquired, some go under. There was a fearful time during that stretch.
Yeah.
That carries some recognition. And then to Tim's point, yeah, it is preconceived or perceived security, not real security by being with those larger entities. And I agree, the marketplace, the general human resources person doesn't know the difference, but they like knowing and seeing a name they recognize.
We were recently at the One Digital conference, and I think we found out that One Digital is Chad, you can help me out with it, is the largest now advisor group in the country based on total plans or something. It was something like this. I was
Oh, I
having a
didn't hear
conversation
that.
with someone else
I didn't
maybe.
hear that either.
So they have this stat, and I thought, wow, that could be really useful. I was having a conversation with an advisor over a beer. I was probably 3 sheets to the wind. How many sheets do you need to be to the wind?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but if there's 9,
Well, you were at
9.
least 6.
Yeah, maybe 9 sheets. And I was saying like, hey, that's actually could work really well in a point of sale to say like, look, we are the biggest, even though you don't know my name, we are the biggest financial group in the country. And I think that would bode well. So clearly I believe in the power of brand and that type of stuff. Okay. Chapar Champion. I am between the new guy that came around that I can't remember his name anymore, Tim Thurston.
Tim Thurston.
Yeah, and Brian Williams for a really a funny comment he made about having to take a shower after going to see a wirehouse, after walking through a wirehouse, and Will Hackler for basically getting back to his old kind of bread and butter, which is making me feel shitty about myself on a constant basis. And so I believe it or not, it's going to shock a lot of you. I'm going to go with Hackler because he made me feel shitty about myself, and I like it. He's like my dominatrix. You know what I mean? Like I like it. Like, hit me harder, Hack. Hit me harder.
Oh
Chad,
my
you're next.
God.
Oh, God.
Dude, it was a good night from a bunch. Staten was involved. Thurston probably takes my vote, but I have to say, Hack, it was a fun It was a fun night with you poking back at JD the way you used to. There was like something Clift was good too. I made note of Clift. But I'm going with Tim Thurston.
Okay, nice, Chad. Very nice. Justin.
Made me think.
Ooh, yeah, I think I'm going Thurston as well. It was just, I felt, honestly, I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a dull night, and
And who is this Thurston?
I'm applauding for, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He stuck out in my mind, had some good points. I'm going him too.
And who is this Thurston guy? He's a new guy, right?
He's sorry, Hack, you got enough. Yeah, he's out of Texas. Wait,
Okay,
I get
I'm
that
just
right?
meaning he hasn't been here a lot before, or am I just drunk all the time?
Step up your game, Hack.
Both.
You got the final vote here.
Well, I don't think it matters because it sounds like Tim's going to take it.
Unless
my
you
vote
go
was
Hack,
for-
then it matters.
Unless you go Hack.
Yeah, I love Hack. He hit a single tonight, a couple strikeouts, hit by a pitch, but I'm going Brian Williams.
Okay, yeah, Brian Williams deserves a
Yeah,
little
that's good.
vote. All right, okay. So tonight's our champion is the guy, I can't remember his name. Good for you, Tim Thurston. Last time's winner was Kush or Greg. Greg.
We are so far behind on this right now, dude.
Greg. No, he wanted to donate to past.
Oh, that was Kush.
That
Yeah.
was Kush.
Kelly
Yeah.
Man. And I will reach out to her and figure out our best way to do that. And
Yeah,
and
love that,
Kush,
Kush.
if that means
Mhm.
just sending like $150 worth of like flowers and roses, we'll do that too. But let me reach out to Kelly and figure out the best way to do that. But that was a great idea. We will for sure do that. And I would love to check in on her. By the way, she's been rock starring that audit minor shit and going off. So that chick is awesome. Okay.
Look at Mark got the pass to
we gotta
show
go.
JD.
We still owe Hack too, don't we?
Yeah, a big one, but that's gonna take planning.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta go,
Hard to
everybody.
do.
Love you. By the way, Charlie Nelson was supposed to be our guest tonight. He needed to reschedule to another date. He will be there in the future. I believe our next show is with the CEO of Smart, Jodan.
Oh,
I forget his last name, but he's coming.
All right,
on
just like
special-
Musa Soya.
See you, JD.
See you guys. Peace out. Let's go, Brandon.
Later.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the Retireholics family. We love you. Okay, Brandon, play some music. We got to go. Bye.